all the light.
Oh,
Hello.
is it going?
Yeah.
Oh, hello, people.
That stupid sunshine.
ah, I almost need sunglasses.
Hello.
Mm-mm.
Happy.
Wednesday.
Have you seen the light?
Oh, you said happy.
Happy Wednesday.
I can see the light. Oh, hey.
Welcome. It's the Brian and Jesse show. Welcome. So we have Jess is back from her worldwide travels.
Yeah.
And oh, look at this is a new direction. We're trying to get sunlight. Are you looking right into it?
I'm like on the edge of my chair too. No, I'm actually okay. There we go. That's a little
oh my
better.
God. I gotta get some curtains in the chair. Look at mine.
Oh, really weird joined us.
I'm married.
Hail Satan!
Hail Satan, really? What's up?
Look at my nose. It's like
Oh, you
Rudolph.
got one dot right on it. Santa Claus would hate you until he discovered you were useful to him. Then he'd be your biggest fan.
Wow, that reminds me of somebody else. Well, welcome to the.
You mean like God?
No.
Oh,
you. Just kidding. Welcome to the exit. Leaving Christianity at 1, 2, 3. I'm Brian, and this is
Jess.
And this is our weekly live stream where
I'm so distracted by the dappling of sunlight.
I was hoping it would be gloomy today.
I know. Should we move the camera?
Let's try. Okay. Sorry, I hope we don't make anyone seasick.
Whoa.
Famous last words.
Yeah, trying to move that.
I know.
Should we try to move it? Oh, I don't know, man. Like, oh boy, here we go.
We just go.
Perfect. We should
Well,
leave
that's
it.
good like that.
How's that look, really?
Wait, you're not even in it.
I don't even have the stream open yet. Like, I just booted up my PC, so I'm trying to get it.
Oh, this is fine.
What if I sit sideways or something?
Like side saddle? If only
I'm not even in the picture. I don't want to be. That light hurts me.
all of our 0 viewers are going to be really distraught.
Man, look at those wrinkles. Those are laugh lines.
That's right. A life well lived. That's what they say.
Well, welcome to our live stream. So we meet. This is so bad. I'm in the picture.
No, this is perfect.
Wait, now.
No, it's very comfortable too. I'll just lean in like this.
This is so stupid. Okay, well, we've got to figure.
Can you see it really?
It reminds you can't see the light.
I can see you guys. I can see the light cutting down the middle, but like you guys moving in and out of frame.
Is it like it's like The Exorcist when they take those pictures?
Oh yeah.
And there's like
a shining,
a spiritual like rod going through that priest, and then that thing falls and like impales him.
It is.
So I hope you're not near any construction sites tonight.
Can you scoot back the whole monitor or no, it'll fall over because that might give a little.
Hey, look at that.
Oh,
hey,
okay.
Jess, the technician's in the house.
That's a thought. Yeah. That's a little better.
Yeah. Look, this side eye.
I know, isn't that weird?
But are you in the light? I
Yeah,
feel
but I
really
don't
good
mind.
this way. Okay.
I feel
Well,
like I'm back on the beach.
Oh, that's right. So welcome back home, and
I know,
welcome.
I miss doing this.
Really weird.
Yes.
I like.
I'm here. Hello.
Hello, disembodied voice. So we are a. What is this live stream about? I don't know. You tell me, Jess.
We are a community of deconstructed believers. Christians was our flavor. I do not do well initially. Once I get up and running, it's like
Oh no, you're
way
doing
less
really
awkward.
well. It seems really smooth and
I was
natural.
better when I was just commenting in the chats and it was just text and you couldn't hear how awkward I
You are
was.
so natural at this. Just be
Aw.
yourself.
Wow. We are a community of deconstructed Christians.
A community of 3. It's a small community.
Small community. Basically wanting to provide a safe space for people who are in that same spot where they might be thinking of leaving the religion that they're in and want to just be open to talk about it.
Yeah.
And there's no judgment here. It can be really hard leaving of religion of any kind. There's so much guilt a lot of times associated with it, fear. So we just want to create a space where we can hang out, talk about the things that you really can't talk about in church without kind of getting shut down or looked down on. And today we're talking about morality without God, which is going to be really interesting.
Yeah. Are there morals without God? And it is, and I know we're joke around a lot, which we do, but we're also serious about it and want to do that consistent time every Wednesday at 5:00. So if you're in that process and you're feeling all alone and you just want to hang out, the way you do it, if you have questions or comments, or you want to share what's going on, you do that through chat. Do we have chat up?
Oh shoot, I do not have chat up.
But that's okay. That's okay. I bet you don't know how to put chat up.
No,
So I don't either. So, okay. New plan. If you have a big problem right now, you're on your own because we can't read your chat.
Do you
If
have
you
like
if you get anybody commenting, I guess I could walk you through pulling it up on stream. I
Okay.
guess we'll just bank on nobody joining.
Can you see chat?
I do. I have it popped up.
Okay.
perfect? Okay.
Nice.
Then just let us know. You could read it and then we'll answer it.
Yeah.
Or you can answer it.
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
Thank
So
you.
just the moderator there really will just take care of that. And yeah, if you have any questions, or maybe if you're out there and you're like, man, why are you guys talking about this or something, and just have any comments about that, let us know. Like,
Yeah.
we're open to anything.
Somebody talk to us.
I got friends.
Show off.
I'm wheezy today.
Weezer's okay. Actually, I like this topic because that was one of the things I used to be hard and fast on, was that you could not have morals without God. I think that was one of my...
I don't think you can. Oh yeah, that's right. Well, let's do that. Let's role play. Like
Oh, heck yeah.
I'll be like a Christian. Not saying this is what all Christians are like. This is what I would be like in my thoughts when I was a Christian. I was for 30 plus years.
Okay.
So
perfect.
I remember what it was like.
So, do you... What?
I don't think you can have morals with that. If there's not objective morals from God and some greater being that's going to tell us what's right and wrong, so then it's just everybody does what they think is right, that doesn't make sense.
That's a really good point. You went... I think I used to think the exact same thing. So then by that standard, do you think that everything that God does is moral?
Yes, he is the epitome of good and the height of all that is gracious and holy and wise.
Do you think... Then I would say, do you think that
And the Bible's true.
everything that the Bible says is true?
Well, I'd like to correct you on one thing. The Bible doesn't say anything. It's just words written on a page. But when I read the Bible, I believe everything written in the Bible is correct. But I've never heard my Bible say anything.
Thank you for clarifying. Well, I would argue that God does some pretty heinous and immoral things in the Bible.
Oh, he does some heinous things? That sounds like you have a opinion on it. That's interesting. Where do you get that moral from? To even, I think you're borrowing from our world. I think you're borrowing from our worldview, the Christian worldview, to even be able to have a say something is good or bad. Because without God, how would you even know?
It was like the really dramatic.
Atheist destroy.
So how would you know? Like,
Okay.
you're just borrowing from God. You're like saying, Oh, I don't think that's right, but how do you know without God? You don't know anything without God. You're probably without God. I would imagine you wake up in the morning and just roll out of bed and then bump into a wall and then like bump into another wall, finally make it to the bathroom and then pee or go to the bathroom somewhere until you find the toilet because you can't know anything without God, let alone morals. So answer that, Sassafras Sue.
I think our live stream is canceled.
Why?
I can't think of what to say. Help, really? I
don't want any part in this.
Dang it. Okay. Well, do you think that people should be punished for something that someone else did?
Yes.
I have nowhere to go.
If God says they should be, yes.
Okay, so your stance is always if God says something's okay, it's okay.
He's all good, of course.
What if he orders women to be raped because of something someone else did?
He would never do that.
He did with David's wives in the Old Testament.
You got citation, please.
Oh, really? Do you have the citation on that?
I mean, I don't.
For the non-consensual struggle hug. I think I don't have the exact verse.
Here's the thing that the way I see it is if God did it, he's all good. So there had to be a good reason for it. So it must have been okay. Not now, but for that time and in that place, it was okay.
Okay, so it's okay for God to command it, but not for somebody else to command it.
Yes, he's all powerful. He may do as he pleases.
How can you tell them what things are, if it's not okay if we do it, but it's okay if he does it? How do you make that separation?
He's God. I'm just a measly human. I don't know if you've read the book, but I don't have any good in me.
That's right.
And I can't really tell what's right or wrong. And all my ways are wicked and sinful. So I just read the Bible and I know God would not lead me astray.
Well, I don't know how to argue with that. But I guess as long as you're not doing the things that he says, I guess you can think that. But this was a bad idea. I'm not a debater.
Okay, let's switch the other way.
Oh yeah, let's switch the other way. That's a good call.
Okay.
No, I'm a Christian.
Yeah.
Well, I would never be wearing this cutout peekaboo shirt if I was a Christian. Hold on.
I agree. I think you. I agree with everything you're saying. Of course.
Of course. Well, I do think that that's a hard one to argue, though, because if the stalemate is always just, well, everything God says is good. So if he said it, it's good. Even if I can't explain it, you can't really argue with that. I don't think.
I think like what it comes down to for me is that like, are there universal truths, right and wrong, somewhere that are just apart from any mind, including God's mind, that are just universally always have been, always will, forever be true. And I don't think anyone can demonstrate that. Mm-mm. So I think all we're left with is subjectivity, subjective morals, and subjective means it's mind dependent.
Yeah.
It's based on the subject's mind, and God being a person, even though he's a God, he's still, the Bible says he's a person, the person of God, and he has a mind because he thinks, he creates. So it's coming from his mind. It's still subject to his mind, not some independent universal something.
God, I wish that's what I had said.
And until like someone can demonstrate that there is something beyond that, that's just permanent, all time, that we can all go to together and find wherever that is. If it's floating in space, if it's in a cave somewhere, where do you go to find this? No one can demonstrate that.
I don't even think you necessarily need to have good and bad. I don't think that matters because people get really hung up on the morality thing. I don't think that matters. I think that for society to function, you just have to have rules of not harming people and what's harmful and what's not to like society functioning, even from an evolutionary perspective. So I love the idea of morality and good and bad. And I was actually very freaked out like when I started moving away from dating Christian people, because honestly, when I was dating Christian guys, there was always something that was like, okay, this is kind of weird with them, and I'm serious, and not awful. It's true though. Well, first of all, I didn't want to be with somebody. that
Dude,
loved anything else more than me. So even the idea of them loving God more than me bothered me. I'm dead serious. But then I was like, well, but if I date atheist people,
pride, nothing but slewfoot pride.
Slewfoot pride.
That was old Slewfoot had you noosed around his finger. Your pride.
That was definitely my number one and most pleasurable sin was pride.
Proud of laugh.
When I dated atheist people, though, like men that didn't believe in God, then I thought, well, they have no reason not to cheat on me or anything like that because they don't have morality. But then I realized, well, if they're choosing not to do those things just because they love me and don't want to hurt me, that's so much more meaningful to me than if they just are not cheating on me because they don't want to go to hell forever.
Yeah.
So it actually meant more because it's like, well, they're making this conscious choice. And I'm namely speaking about my current boyfriend. We've been together a long time because I think he's the first person I dated that wasn't a bona fide Christian. I think.
He's bona fide, all right.
He is bona fide.
Nice.
No,
I like him.
Yeah, we like him.
I really like him.
Yeah.
But I agree. So that is how I think, just from listening to that, different people talk about it so many times, it clicked and made sense, because I wouldn't have had an answer either a while back, but I didn't realize that about subjective and objective philosophically, and like the way it's discussed in this arena is very specific to subjective morals are coming from a subject's mind, even if that's a god.
Sure.
And objective means they're apart from any coercion, mind. They're just somehow always true apart from all of that. And that's what no one can demonstrate, that there is nowhere to go to find there's no evidence for those. So
Yeah.
I just don't. So the subjective is the default until objective morals are proved or found or demonstrated, because that is what we are left with. Everybody, yes, does make their own decisions based on their mind. I think a lot of it's empathy based.
Yeah, I think so too.
It's like, I know what it's like. I don't want to be hurt. I don't want to be robbed. I don't want to be beaten up. I don't want to be murdered. I don't want my family to be hurt. So I understand that. So I don't do that. I want to live in a society that is the same way. Thankfully, many people that think the same way gather together and live together like that. And then those that don't, the other ones choose to make laws and punishments
and I think
law systems to hold people accountable. But that's all coming from people's minds saying, this is, as a society or a community, or this is how we want to live.
I agree.
And there is even the United States none of the law is built on the 10 Commandments or the Bible or anything. That's how it's all built.
Actually. Well, and that's the funny part too, is I think self-preservation is so huge in society functioning, and you could call it I don't think that's morality though. So if there's like a sociopath, is it psychopath or sociopath that doesn't care about other people, or both?
I don't know.
And they have no empathy. I can't remember.
Psychopath.
Okay.
I thought psychopath was you specifically don't have any emotions.
Okay.
That'd be wild.
I thought that's what it was. I'm not sure.
I think so. It's certainly not empathy or like compassion for other people, but a lot of times they don't want to go to jail, so that might stop them from harming somebody or from doing something that we would perceive as like wrong, but they don't care about morality.
Exactly. And the interesting thing is, like, what you were doing was very good. Like, you were starting to go to biblical evidence of amoral things that we would look at and say, and my best impression, well, isn't that making a moral judgment? Yes,
Sure.
because it doesn't matter what the terms are, the words, whether you call it morals, whether you call it however, people just know things that create harm and help other people to flourish and society to flourish. And that's what most societies do, is they want to
Yeah.
minimize harm to one another and have things flourish. And if you're looking at so if you look at the Bible, there's things that absolutely go against what most Christians would say is moral, but it's okay because God did it,
Yep.
which is the definite, and it was okay at that time, but it's not okay now, which is the definition of subjective morals.
It
It was
literally
okay
is.
at one time, and it's not okay now.
But even
Or
then, the Bible said this, like when he gave those commands, he said, this is the law for all time.
yep,
So he had like parents cannibalizing their children as a
yeah,
punishment. And that parents that hadn't even done anything. And so I think, right?
yeah,
Or am I,
like he's was going to cause that.
which
He
I
was
guess
going to
that
cause
punishment would
the.
never be okay, even if the parents had done something because the kids didn't do anything.
I mean, like who, like,
Who
dude?
put
I'm just saying that's
so
if
punish?
we came up with something like that today, like you just look at the most recent Gaza uh, Israel conflict, and when Israel wanted to go in, just the outcry worldwide about how the concern for the innocent, which I think it should be. You can't just
Yeah.
go in and blow up innocent people. I mean, um, and they had to retaliate and stuff. But I don't want to get into all that. But there was just this huge outcry. What about the innocent children? What about the innocent men and women who didn't have anything to do with this? They're going to be hurt. And that was worldwide. But
Yeah.
so, like back in the day, somehow though it was okay to go in because I want you to go and eliminate this, go to war with this group and kill everyone, man, woman,
Babies.
child, except the young girls, and then those you can keep as your bride. You know, you can take as spoils of war.
Yep.
No Christian would agree with that if someone proposed that today, but it's crystal clear God proposed that in the Old Testament.
Yep.
So I don't think it. So what it comes down to a lot of times is it's truly divine command theory is what, like a term that's used define that. The Christians' morals, if it is whatever God says is good, then that's just divine command theory. Whatever he commands, it's from a divinity. He's all powerful. So I've got to do it, and it has to somehow be okay. I just look at some
That's
of those
dangerous.
things and say, I'm sorry. If that, I don't know what that makes me not a part of Christianity or anti-God. It's not even that. I'm just like, no, that's wrong. We all know it's wrong.
I think I would be super anti-God. I listened to a thing today where they were talking, it was Frank Turek and somebody else, and they were teaching you how to talk to atheists. And it yeah, it was like a Q&A, and it broke atheists down to 4 categories, and I can't remember them all, but category 4 were atheists that were at this time unreachable, but you were just supposed to pray for them because you never knew they could come around. And they said one thing that the level 4 or whatever atheists might say is, if you ask them, if I could prove to you 100% Christianity's real right now, would you become a Christian? And they said, if they say no, then that means that they're unreachable and you just have to pray for them. And they were saying this like it was a bad thing. But my thing is, if someone could prove to me right now that literal Christian God, Bible God's real,
Excuse me.
I would not be a Christian. I'd be like, well, screw it, I'm going to hell, because I think a lot of the stuff that he does and says is morally repugnant. And I'm not getting behind a God that's okay with punishing innocent people for stuff that they have not done.
Yeah.
So I just thought that was interesting, but that's not what they talked about. They were just saying that those atheists were closed off and unwilling to see the truth, and they were going, oh, the truth. And it's like, if maybe that atheist has read a Bible and knows about the atrocities that God committed. And
a lot of people who have deconstructed or walking away were Christians.
Yep.
Obviously that's why they're deconstructing and are very familiar with all of that.
Yeah.
Those stories, and that's been a part of that problem. I think I heard that same one today.
Did you really? It was only 14 minutes long.
Yeah,
but
I think I did listen to that. Was it the 10 questions or something.
Yes. And the caption said
I've
something
never,
like,
I've never felt more like a project in my life. It's like, dude, you don't want
it's
to know
offensive.
who I am as a human being. You don't want
Nope.
to know anything about me. You're just got a script you're trying to run to do your obligation or
It's
something.
kind of like those pickup artists. That's what me and Really Weird were talking about before we did the stream, that you would learn these certain techniques of picking up people, like picking up dates. And instead of talking them as a human and, knowing what kind of person they are, it was you position yourself like this and you say these things. That's literally what it was like for them, but talking to atheists.
Yeah.
It was kind of creepy because it's not looking at it like this is just a human. And I think that's the problem. And I remember that of being a Christian was you could not see an atheist or somebody of a different religion as just a human being. You saw them as somebody that you had to save or somebody that was dangerous that you had to stay away from because they might corrupt you.
Yeah. Agreed. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna drag this. That was very good.
Thank you.
I'm gonna drag this right over here because I think if it's here, then I can just look at the camera and I quit doing that weird side eye thing.
Thank God.
I don't know why I keep looking over there. Wait. Do you? If it's over here, does that get you in more?
Yes, and then I don't have to be like,
wait.
Perfect view of my comb over.
Darn you, lightning bolts.
I was struck by that too, though, that it wasn't really like talking about real people. It was such a project thing.
Yeah, and I used to think the same way.
Me too.
Like you couldn't have morals apart from God, and I did think. I mean, I did come from a pretty before being a Christian and getting to AA, Alcoholics Anonymous, and getting my life together and all that. I did like a lot of that stuff, so that was sin. But the fun that would have been called sin, the party and all that. But even so, at that point, I mean, I was in a lot of emotional pain, lonely, struggling, big time, and that's part of the reason I was in that lifestyle. So even this idea that's really is just not accurate is that people want to walk away because they want to sin. And we talked about that in one of the earlier podcasts or live streams that, like that's one of the reasons people want to deconstruct.
Oh, yeah. It's so that they can have like orgies and stuff.
Or just so they can sin or they don't want to, they want to do whatever it is. Nothing changed. The biggest change for me is that now, since I stopped believing and going to church and all of that, and I don't pray. I don't think there's someone to pray to that's going to answer those things. So I now think more of what can I do to make a difference for people, and not perfect at it. Guess what? Perfection, not being perfect, is not a sin. That's something that's made up. We're just people. No one's perfect. Like
exactly.
Snap.
Snaps. Way to clap back.
Geeked. But so, like, hey, if you're out there and experiencing any of this kind of stuff and struggling, and this is resonating with you, just pick up that chat and shrub it.
Do you think that you're more or less moral since leaving Christianity?
I think I'm this. I just think I'm the exact same. It's just things that were I was told that was a sin or was sinful is just being human.
Yes.
Like, I mean, everybody, and it's so obvious. I mean, if you're in church at any time at all and get close to people and get to know them, it's everybody's struggling with something.
Yep.
Gosh, how many, like, like even some of the pastors that we were involved with, how, man, like would do different things and their attitudes towards family. And I just seen things even from, pastors and staff. It doesn't matter. We're all just people.
It literally, you know what too, though, is that you could use the devil as a cop-out. Yeah. I think that was a thing because instead of taking responsibility, I would literally hear people say that, like, well, the temptation's all around us and Satan wants us to be tempted, which Satan's not the devil, but whatever. No one knows that. And I feel like instead of just taking responsibility and saying, "Hey, I was really selfish there. I'm so sorry." That was a thing. And even when like youth pastors or something would get disgraced because they were diddling kids or something like that, you could literally hear people say like, "Oh, the devil's reach is long," or
he's out to
temptations as
destroy
the
him.
devil's out. And it's like, no, dude, you just did something bad.
Yeah.
Take accountability. But I think on
that harmed others and
yeah.
did not produce flourishing. You don't need a book or anybody to just tell you if that is happening or not.
Right.
Are you doing harm to others, and is it diminishing human flourishing? If it is,
I think I feel like now it almost means more to be moral because it's a conscious choice I'm making to do something kind for somebody else or like not hurt somebody. And it's not at all because, oh, I'm afraid I'm going to get cosmically punished. It's just, I don't want to hurt somebody else. So to me, it actually means a lot more. And I think that I've become so much kinder, and I've really felt less judgmental of people since walking away from Christianity, which has been huge. Like there's not this veil up of like, well, I got to kind of keep my distance because they might corrupt me because they're not a Christian. Like I can get close to people and actually have a lot more capacity for compassion and understanding.
Yeah.
Which is awesome.
Agreed.
Wait, do you want me to still be the Christian though? I got snaps.
Wait, was I the Christian?
Yeah, but then I absolutely like
now try it again now.
Melted down.
Try it again now.
Okay.
Based on what we were talking about.
Okay, but don't make such a good point. I
Okay,
wasn't good
I'll be like,
okay. Be like a slightly lower IQ Christian.
I don't think that's such a thing. Okay.
Oh yeah, we're talking about morality without. I think you can have morality without God. What do you think, Christian? Stumped you already. Do you want to hear what my value system is, like my standard for?
Yeah. Okay. Well, wait. You think? How do you even know what's good and bad without God?
I judge it by if it is harming someone or not. Harming someone or something. Basically, my goal in life is to not harm, but look out for and protect anyone or anything weaker than myself.
But if someone else thinks different and they want to harm people.
Well, so what if I knew Christian people that did that?
Yeah, but I mean, who's to say they're just doing what they think is right?
Yeah, that's true. They absolutely are. I think that's where rules and laws and stuff come in. Has nothing to do with morality. It's just like what is harming society.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if you call it morality or just like you said, what's diminishing human flourishing.
And if someone hasn't, I guess, evolved enough to figure that out, like they need help.
And also, yeah,
people, community, and society needs to help
and you know
them
what
figure
else?
that out.
Guess what? You have all these Christians and all these different sects and branches of Christianity, and they all disagree on what's actually right and wrong. So even with that, even if you are using the Bible as your moral compass, don't do that. But if you are, people have all different kinds of takeaways and stuff. And so I feel like even that, it's not cut and dried. It's not super obvious.
I think I hear you talk a lot about the Old Testament, and that was the old. That doesn't even really apply. I just followed Jesus.
He's the worst of them all. I hate to break this to you.
What? Name one thing he did that whatever was mean.
If you just doomed everyone to hell and eternal punishment if they did not decide to obsess over him for their entire lives.
He did not. He came to rescue us from there. He didn't make us go there.
Hell wasn't a thing until Jesus showed up on the scene. Jesus was like,
my eye. My eye. Wait, what do you mean by that?
Yeah, Jesus is the one that came in and was like, hey, if I'm not top priority and you're not obsessed with me for your entire life and worship me and I'm the number one thing, hell.
I gotta check that out. I don't remember him saying that.
I mean, not in so many words.
I thought he was like, I will love you and save you.
Kind of, unless you just want it to
You know what I wonder about people like you
What?
is like I think you're just like I don't want that. I don't want to follow him. I want to go my own way. So all God is doing is just saying he's not sending you anywhere. He's just saying, okay, go your own way.
Oh, he had the option to make things work any way that he wanted. And he gave people a thinking, like problem solving brain, right?
Mm-hmm.
And free will. So it's like, that's nice. But then if you use your free thinking brain that he created and you decide, hey, that very obscure book, the Bible, which everyone has a different interpretation of that's ever read, doesn't make sense to me, and I actually don't believe it, then this loving God is going to doom you to an eternity of torture with no chance of. Then he sucks. If that's true, then he sucks.
Actually, he's holy.
He-
Perfectly
Hey.
holy.
Oh,
I have a quick question.
let's hear it.
So, and feel free to role play or not, either way. But so on the point of, if you're rejecting God, and so he's not punishing you, you're just going to end up separated from him, and the separation is where the suffering comes from. How does that work? Because is it hard and fast in just in Christian tradition or in the Bible that God is omnipresent,
I think just
like that he's everywhere? Because I guess what I'm getting at is, would he not also be in hell if he's literally everywhere?
well, there's an arg. That's a really good point, and I think there's an argument that
Flaw.
he. Oh, it's a huge flaw, but there's an argument that he can't be in the same presence as sin, which he lives inside of us. So then already that's
Yeah.
Well,
debunked.
yeah. So that's the thing. What kind of comes, because it's more of a question. Like, does it is that also something he can't do? So he cannot be in the same place as sin. So he is
He
not
absolutely
omnipresent, but he would
can.
also. Okay.
He can be. That's what that is. I think a huge conflict because that's what's said in the New Testament, and people just Christians say that often. I don't know if it exactly says that, and we know in the Old Testament, like he had uh, the accuser in heaven, and they're making that wager whether he can make Job turn away and stuff. So
Oh
obviously
yeah.
he could be in the presence of sin. The angels all were in heaven with him, and there must have, I don't know if they just, the second they revolted, they never had a negative thought up to that point. They never planned or thought or sinned in any way, and they just did it that instant, and he shot him right out because, well, they had to, sin was there, because if they were plotting and thinking that sin was in his presence, even if he didn't know it, but he would have known it because he's all knowing. um, so yeah, that's a misnomer that he can't.
Be in the same, but then that's a if he can't be in the presence of sin, then he's not all powerful, so that there's a problem. And then if he can be, then he's just choosing not to be in hell and doom everybody to torture for eternity.
Yeah, and I think the biggest, like, what I wasn't aware of was that how, even though I'd read the Bible multiple times, it's really wild when you're in it and you're hearing all this stuff weekly. And from like myself, we would go to church twice a week, usually uh
Mm-hmm.
Sunday morning, Sunday nights, or at least there was a time we did for quite a while. I mean, you're hearing that constantly, what they're saying up front, and it's not what's in the Bible. And
Ooh.
and I was shocked to find out that hell developed between the period of the end of the Old Testament and Jesus coming on the scene. There's no mention of that in the Old Testament. And I was reading something on that today, and it said, well, that's like progressive or revelatory theology, and that's how the Bible does it. It's slowly revealing this. Like what? Like this most like this most horrific thing that's is not even introduced until the New Testament to the level it is.
Surprise.
And I think it's because there had to be some stick to get people to follow, and that was
Oh
the stick
yeah.
that's used is fear of eternal, because it's not in the Old Testament.
Yeah.
or
Which
very
is so
vague
weird because I had
references.
read it multiple times, but I think just because that's like the Christian lore is the whole hell concept because the Old Testament's way bigger and way longer than the New
Yeah.
Testament. I think I had always just assumed, even though I had read it multiple times, it was so boring for the most part. But I never put that together that there wasn't hell until Jesus.
Yeah, and there were enough. I think once you have it in your mind that it's all cohesive and that
Mm-hmm.
it's telling the same story, you see maybe uh, like shadows of it, and you see it in more places than it actually is when you're reading the
Sure.
Old Testament.
Kind of like the prophecies.
Yeah, but yeah, so
That's a good. Did we kind of answer what you were asking?
Yeah, yeah, that's basically what I was interested in. I was also curious because a lot of times people will say hell didn't get introduced until it was the Jewish culture mingling with the Greeks, and then the apocalyptic cult that spawned off of that to, and then they added the hell concept. Um, I hear a lot of people refer to it as Hades, but in Hades, they didn't. Everybody went to Hades. It wasn't a punishment. That was just where the dead people went. Was the hell concept that they took, was it Tartarus?
Oh, I don't know.
teach
Because
me.
I thought like Tartarus was where they sent um I think it was like the Titans were trapped there, or it was
Oh,
definitely like the nastier souls that had
Mm.
performed some kind of bad thing got punished there. But it wasn't like if you are bad, you will go to Tartarus, or at least I don't think it was. It was like very specific people like Prometheus, I'm not sure if Prometheus was, but I was just curious because I hear everybody say, "Oh, they took it from the Greeks and it was Hades," and it's kind of weird because Hades sounds more like Sheol, where it was
Yeah,
just every when you died, you just went there, and it was just you're all it's gloomy and everybody's dead, and it's a bummer, but it's not
it's just where
like
you go.
that's a lot
yeah,
more
yeah,
fair, actually.
Yeah, it's just it's hard now not to see how much it was borrowed and how similar to other cultures that were
Mm,
doing the same thing both in the old and new, and how they were trying to fabricate something that to make this new messiah fit that, when the old one didn't come. And I think, or when the one that the Old Testament was talking about, a ruling king that would come and free Jerusalem and reestablish everything in Jerusalem, and the whole world would be blessed through Jerusalem, and the nations would go there, and there'd be peace. When that didn't happen, what do you do? Like, you've got
yeah.
to come up with something, and I think that filled the void.
No, I think you're absolutely right. I do like it really fascinates me with the morality concept that you can have a different set of rules for your God that are far more flexible. That if anyone did some of the things that he did in the Old Testament, any person, they wouldn't even be just jailed, but like kicked out of the community.
I think it's and
I it's really curious to me that you could say, well, it's okay for the most powerful person to do it, and how you couldn't see that that is like every cult ever is that the being or person with the most power is allowed to do whatever they want. It's David Koresh is allowed to say, "Hey, you guys aren't allowed to sleep with your wives, but I can sleep with all of them." If God can say, "Well, I can command for this guy's wives to all be raped because of something that they did not do," it's the same thing. And for people to be able to look at that and go, well, it's because we don't understand. It's because we have a plan. He had a plan. But then to look at David Koresh and go, what a perv. That's wild to me. But I mean, I was entrenched in it and I used to buy into the whole like, oh, his plans are, I didn't really know that story because that wasn't one that got brought up in Sunday school ever. But I remember saying that about, well, some of the like, what's it called? Infanticide.
infanticide.
Yeah, like in Egypt, when he had all the firstborn kids killed.
Yeah,
And remember, well, he had to do that for. No, he didn't.
yeah, innocent children. and how in I think what is continuing to happen, and I keep mentioning this, but it's probably self evident, but the with the onset of the web and the access just now everybody worldwide has to all the information that's always been out there,
Yeah.
but was very well controlled and you did not hear it. Like, and if you like I've shared my own story, I came across these same problems and would ask everybody I knew and I'd get the same patented answers or pat answers, and I'd start to think after a while like, gosh, maybe I'm just, is that it? You just have to believe, and like, but this just doesn't seem right. And then you would read the top people of the day, like Gleason Archer, Norman Geisler, Josh McDowell, and it's like the apologetics were just weak. But it's
Weak.
like I wanted to believe because then now you're in, and my family's in, and my friends are in, and it's my community, it's everything, it's my identity, and
You're like eternity.
yeah, and then not to mention that, like my eternal salvation, and it's everything in what it would mean to question that. And I think like just watching uh Justin on Deconstruction Zone over the last several years, how in
Yeah.
such a short time how that's grown and spawned off so many other people, or he's collaborates with so other similar people, and to hear the number of Christians that call in when they're faced with the face to face with the truth will still not admit it.
Yeah.
And it's just I think a huge defense mechanism like I had, like, hey, I'm uncomfortable, the cognitive dissonance is strong, but this would cost too much for me to go further down this road, and it's so much easier to back off and
Oh yeah.
just leave it there, because most churches aren't talking about that stuff. They're not
Of
digging
course
into
not.
those tough passages. They're saying the things that are going to keep you in. They're not bringing up contradictions and all that stuff.
I also think too, I think it's part of me is like, okay, whatever. If you want to believe that and you want to say, well, God's the moral authority, most people, even if they believe that I knew, wouldn't do the stuff that God did in the Old Testament or the New Testament. But what is scary is I heard a few people on there that when they were really pushed and asked, so if God told you to do this, would you do it? And really rough stuff like if God wanted your spouse, this was literally one, to
Yeah,
get
I've
raped
heard
by
it.
some guys, and God commanded it to punish you, and the guy said yes, if he committed it that would be okay. And that's where it gets really scary, like deeply scary, because let's say somebody like hears voices or does drugs and has a bad trip or whatever, like that's terrifying that you would say that something like that is okay.
And I don't know if that person would or not. They're in that
No.
state. They're in that platform where they're being cornered, and it's just now it's like, oh, okay, well, there is no logical answer to this
Yeah.
except to, and I can't deny God, and I'm not going to let this guy win. I wonder if that plays into it some, because I'm thinking it's just so evident to anybody watching, like, uh, you wouldn't do that. How would you agree to that being okay?
Right.
Like,
It's just weird that and it's since
that's how strong those religious
I was a Christian for so long, and
doctrine can be.
it's funny that so I can empathize and relate, but it is really funny being on the outside when you hear the morality argument from Christians, and there is so much in the Bible that is presented as like, hey, this was just okay, that is so immoral, that I would consider immoral. And honestly, who cares if there's morals or not? It's like, just don't harm people.
Yeah, even
That
that. Oh, go ahead.
oh, I was just gonna say that is one funny thing that gets taken for granted in those conversations is the idea that my morality comes from the Bible, and oh well, well then your morality is horrific. When what I would generally argue is that most of those people, the Bible doesn't even clear their own morality. Because if you press a lot of those people enough, you can get them to say, well, if he said that, then it's the right thing to do. they'll say it in such a way that it's pretty clear that they don't want to do it, they wouldn't do it, they think it's bad to the point that they're feeling conflicted about having to resist God in a hypothetical.
Yep.
And it is hilarious because you mentioned it earlier where it's saying, well, it's funny, you have this he's supposed to be this cosmic thing and he can just get away with this stuff. It is funny that he can't even clear the most basic of built-in human morals. You can get somebody to admit, if your child, you did all these great things for them, you were a perfect parent and all this stuff, and they just abandon you and didn't even acknowledge that you exist, you would be hurt, you would be angry, but would you light your kid on fire over that? And would you think that that's fair? Even just lighting them on fire long enough that they cease to live. And most people would be like, no, that's horrible, but you can, but it's not analogous. It's like, really, why not? Because God is infinitely, he's supposed to be infinite love and infinite compassion, and he can't even clear the most
Yeah.
basic
And just
parental
in
feelings that he put into people who he made in his image.
yeah, infinitely
Preach.
just, and that's what a lot of times is brought up. Well, he has to be just. Well, there is not. That is not just to eternally light someone on fire and have them suffer. Particularly if they've been good people and they're like just generally good people, and someone like Jeffrey Dahmer or someone who has done horrific things has a conversion and asks Christ, then that's just forgiven.
Right.
Like that's not justice either. That's mercy. It's the opposite of justice.
The other interesting part about that, like God's not fair or just, because the definition of just would be like someone receiving punishment for something that they did that fit their crime. And God's like, nah, I'm going to punish the women instead. Like in that specific case with David. So just right there, by the definition of just, which would be like fair, it's not.
And that's why I don't think it was God. I think it was men writing that, and that seemed pretty,
Yeah.
pretty just to them in that culture. It was like, well, hey, they're property anyway.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't they be punished for what? We're not going to punish the king. Like, so yeah, I don't think a God wouldn't do all that
But
stuff.
if he would, not interested. And I feel like that's a real, because that was such a big like sticking point for Frank Turek was, well, if atheists said that they're not interested in God, then they're, or Christianity, then they're just like, you write them up. But it wasn't anything to do with, hey, because some of the stuff in here is repugnant or because they have an intellectual problem with the inconsistencies. It was just like their hearts are closed off. It's so interesting to group an entire uh, group of people together and lump them all together and say, well, it's just because they're hard-hearted or it might be because they are actually really compassionate and would never harm somebody for somebody else's wrongdoing.
And I think like what people like apologists do, and they're very good at it because that's all they do day in and day out, ask the same questions, they go through the same script, they know their arguments inside and out. And I think is really it was really important for me to start understanding, not to have a response, but like to uh, assimilate what is my objection to that, because honestly they sound very powerful, very persuasive, especially if you're on the spot. And yeah, it took me time to read stuff, think through, read the Bible more, listen to other outside sources and their scholars and their references and check it out. And it's like now I don't think that would bother me. I may not have the quick snappy answer like as quick as someone like that. That's all those guys do, like day in and
Sure.
they go and I mean that's our living now for I don't know how many 30 years or something. So of course they're going to be very polished at it and stuff, but just that basic understanding for me with the morals is that the subjective morals is the only ones we can prove.
Subjective morals is the
We
only
can
ones we
demonstrate
prove. Yeah.
there are subjects, people everywhere, and they have different morals on different things. They agree on a lot, but they'll have different morals on different aspects. So that's demonstrably true.
Mm-hmm.
that's demonstrably true. I don't know, but that's that we know. We can see this idea that either number one, the Bible is God's word, so that makes it authoritative morals. Well, that there's so much question about whether the Bible is even. I certainly don't believe you can demonstrate in any way that that was God's word.
Yeah.
So you take that away. So where are these morals like that?
Right.
Where do you go to find them, and who's holding those? And
Well, I would even say that the Bible doesn't have objective morals because if it does, they're certainly not that clear. Because again, look at
yeah,
all the different groups and denominations, and everyone has come away with a different set of moral guidelines that, like, no, this is the way that
with
you're supposed to do it.
exactly.
And they're all reading the exact same thing. So if they're objective, they're not that objective because everyone's interpreting them
Yeah,
differently.
yeah.
I just thought of that.
And I will say too, I know so many Christians, a lot less now because when I stepped away from when I was on staff at church, and that's really when I stopped going to church. We tried a few places to stay connected. You know, it's that last gasp, like trying to find
Maybe
a
there's
place, and it
something.
just didn't. I couldn't do it anymore. But I many, many wonderful people. Some of the
Oh, for sure.
nicest, most wonderful people I still know today are Christians, but the same
Same for
not
atheists, though.
same non-believers too. I
Hmm.
know many, many, and honestly, unless you're like okay, when I was back in my partying days with bikers and stuff, okay, that was a crowd that absolutely little. I mean, and they still had morals and things that they wouldn't cross lines and stuff,
Aww.
but they did a lot of things that were even probably unlawful and that kind of stuff. But
Yeah, but
once I got
probably.
outside of that, now it's been, what's that been, 40 years now? People, believers or not, they are so similar. So
Yeah.
similar. And it's really hard pressed to tell like any difference in their way they live, the way they treat people, in any of it.
Well, except for that one code of morality is fear based, and the other one is because they genuinely don't want to harm people. For some,
Yeah.
and I don't, I think that the same could go for Christians too. For some of them, is that like, um, obviously, I don't think that they're all just like, well, I don't want to get punished, so I'm not going to hurt my spouse. That's not true. I think that a lot probably don't want to hurt their spouse, but overall, it's just interesting that like if I'm an atheist now, and when I walked out of the store the other day with something in my cart. I was buying chicken food, and I walked out, and I had little suet bird feeder suet packets in my cart that I didn't pay for because they were like under some other stuff. And I had a split second out in the car that I'm like, it is freezing cold out. I can either walk back in and pay for these, or they were $2 each. What's the big deal? And it wasn't like, well, because I think God is watching. I thought, no, I know the people at the store. I like them. I don't, what if at the end of the night, the sweet girl working has to do inventory and someone else gets in trouble? And it's probably not even that big of a deal. But I'm like, just in case it is and it could hurt somebody else, I'm going to march back in there through the snow and pay for these stupid bird feeder packets. And I feel like if I'm going to be with people, um, close to people, I would almost prefer that, hey, if they're being nice to me and fair to me and stuff, that it's because they want to be and not because they feel like they're going to go to hell if they don't.
Yeah.
I don't know if anyone else, if you've ever thought about that or if it feels like that at all.
It was all based on uh uh, I didn't think a lot about hell at all because I was a Christian. So like
Oh, okay.
I didn't like I was saved. I didn't have to worry about it. But
Okay.
my tension is and really and I were talking about this. It's like, well, I wasn't I, even though I started a lot of outreaches and ministries and I could talk to people about it, it was not, I don't know, there was something in me that was just to tell somebody that level of like, you need to really do this and you need to believe what I believe. It'd have to be the right circumstance for me to do
Yeah,
that.
me too.
So I didn't, and then that was part of the tension. It's like, well, I'm not even good at this or like designed to do this, and it's not culturally like the times we tried to do it where you just go knocking on random doors. It was so off-putting,
So
and
freaking
people
weird.
didn't
Yeah.
respond. So it's like, but man, if I don't, these people are really going to a place where they're gonna burn forever, and that's on
It's up to
me.
you,
And
right?
like this, like, and that didn't make sense. So that
Nope.
I did feel like some pressure that way, or guilt, or whatever, like tension. And that kind of, the only thing that was driving me to do that was, oh, is Jesus gonna be pleased with me or
Say
something like
like
that.
he's watching you, like Big Brother. Yeah.
But a lot of the other ministries we did is like, we did outreach to a lot of urban places, and kids and families and their families. I just liked that. I liked
Me
helping
too.
people because I'd been helped so much, but it wasn't Christianity really driving it.
No.
And the part that was hard for me, and what I hated, was where you would go do those things and it's like, okay, we're gonna, you're working with people that are really struggling. You get this, but you're gonna have to listen to this first, and
Coercive.
it's like, why can't you just go be nice to
It's
people? Like,
coercive. Yeah. And you know what? You can be nice to people even as an
yeah.
atheist. And I think
I told one time I went to a food
oh, like a soup kitchen?
soup kitchen, and
Yeah.
I just went as a attendee. Like, I just got in line.
Oh, like you pretended like you were there for food.
Yeah,
That's
I did,
right.
and went and got food. And
Was it
and it was just interesting how some people looked at me, some didn't. Some, it was just like, I don't know. It's all great. Definitely help feed people, whatever your reason you're doing it. But it was like, it wasn't something like, I didn't feel seen, or
mm,
like I was more of somebody that was being, something was being done to me, as opposed to for me, or like it wasn't real. It was just funny being on that side of a Christian outreach event.
did you feel like a project kind of?
It just, there wasn't really that level of engagement. It was
Oh.
of more like, and it was weird. I felt like an outsider. I felt like
Oh.
diminished, like what?
Dehumanized kind of?
Yeah, a little
Yeah.
bit.
I
So,
bet so. I could totally
and
see
I
that.
don't know what that's to do with anything, but
That's interesting.
but it, but I know when we did a lot of those ministries, we were in, like, I know in the one church there was, we were at, I think they had 2,000 people attendance, and we could not, out of that many people, you'd get, I think we had 3 or 4, maybe 5 people that would faithfully help. And it was, so even with the moral, even with this idea about, oh, they're all love and reaching out and helping the helpless, it's maybe, and I'm sure in many ways, but it was tough to get people to help, that, like, the really people that were really struggling. Like, you didn't
Mm-hmm.
see a lot of that. I don't,
Burn.
anecdotal.
No, but that
I think
And
it's no. Oh, I'm sorry.
go ahead.
Oh, I think it's relevant just because on the topic of morals for whatever reason you're doing them, if you feel dehumanized because somebody's doing something because it's their essentially, and this again, just disclaimer, this does not apply to every Christian. There are plenty of Christians that do stuff like that because they genuinely care about the people that they're trying to help. However, there is an element of lots of people end up doing that kind of stuff because it's essentially your cosmically prescribed community service.
Yeah.
Whereas, from a humanitarian perspective, if you are doing it because you are trying to help your fellow man, because they're also humans like you, it is going to result in a different kind of feeling for the people that you're outreaching to.
I know. I think it's kind of funny that it's even like, I know we still haven't had anyone show up to our,
no.
to hang out and chat, anything.
But I've enjoyed our little think tank here.
But I mean, that's the whole reason we're doing this. And I'm
Yeah.
no longer a Christian, but we still have that desire. Like, no, people are struggling with this stuff, and there is no other reason than just, hey, if we can be on here and help, if it's one person, that would make it all worth it, because people are important, and when they're struggling, they need help. And so and we're doing this as we're
Yeah.
non-believers. So, and you guys know who I'm talking to, but like, we had family members that were atheists, and you couldn't find more decent, moral, helping
Wholesome.
people involved in their community in more ways than I've ever been.
Yeah.
In more ways than a lot of most Christians I've known. I mean, we're so involved in so many ways, in volunteering for alcohol and drug boards,
Mm-hmm.
for mental health boards. We're just involved with their work places above and beyond, running, you know, all kinds of programs and stuff, and just decently nice, very decent people. And they were
Yep.
atheists. They were no, and that's true. Like just everywhere.
It is.
It's not just Christians that have the moral thing, right?
That was wrapping it up with a nice bow. And really, I think that you summed that up like absolutely perfectly what I was trying to say about volunteering
Yeah.
and if it feels like it's your responsibility, like your cosmic duty versus it's something you actually want to do because you care about people.
Yeah.
Not saying that there can't be both, but I think as an atheist, you wouldn't really have any kind of big ethereal reason that you would feel like you had to do something like that. So
Yeah.
you could, but not
You,
because of God.
oh, go
I would be
ahead.
inclined to say that is a problem that somebody should check themselves for, irrespective of whether they're religious or not, because I think there are plenty of people who would do that kind of thing because it's their political obligation,
Oh,
uh, in any direction that they could say, like, well, yes, this is what we do, and we are better than whoever our opponents are, because whether it's because we're the Christian uh, side who outreaches to the homeless and whatever, or it's because we're the liberal side that's doing things because we don't have enough government programs to do it. We're doing it ourselves. You could motivate yourself and you could, but I think that's more just something to kind of check yourself on.
Yeah, that's
It's
good.
just it's pervasive in Christianity because there's the motivation of, that's why I think it's almost more insidious, because maybe somebody's not, they could be doing it out of a sense of ego that I'm holier than thou and look at what a good person I am. I feel great about it. I don't worry about hell at all. Or it could be somebody that does worry about hell and they're trying to do every possible thing they can because they're worried if they're like not saved enough. And it's
yep.
just it's got its
That
own
was
kind of
me.
insidious element to it.
Absolutely. That's a good call, man.
You have a way of phrasing things that are so succinct
It
and
does.
accurate.
That's what I was telling him last night when we were talking. Well, man, on that high note, we'll go ahead and wrap her up because we were trying to do this for an hour, and we'll be back next Wednesday at 5 Eastern
Yay.
time. Join us. Peace out.